I did a video recently on why anger can be the linchpin that keeps you stuck in the grief cycle. And I did get some feedback about how some people were not taught how to actually just feel anger and how to let it out in a healthy way. And I wanted to kind of clarify a little bit of that because I think it's a struggle that a lot of us deal with for many reasons, and I'll go over some of those reasons right now. One of them is that a lot of my clients might have been raised in homes or have found themselves in relationships where anger was not expressed in a healthy way. It went from trigger to expression with no feeling in the middle. And so anger became a very unsafe thing. And this is very, very common in abusive, unsafe, manipulative, or otherwise toxic areas of our lives, households, jobs, relationships, you name it. So there's a great reluctance to anger because it was always modeled as something that is violent and unsafe, which I get. And that is a completely understandable thing. There's also the kind of reluctance to anger that comes from, having had a spiritual awakening, whatever that may be for you and whatever that means. A lot of the spiritual community, and especially if you like to manifest and if you practice that, there's this idea that if you're not thinking glitter thoughts all day, every day, that you're somehow putting negativity out into the universe. And that's not actually true. Your single and individual thoughts don't have a lot of weight when it comes to what you're creating in this world. It's those consistent, focused, highly emotionally charged thoughts that you think day in and day out that eventually start shaping your reality. So don't worry about having a single angry thought or a single angry moment or even a single angry phase of your life. I promise you, you are not putting darkness into the world unless you refuse to look at it and unless you repress it, and in which case those single thoughts turn into little tiny neural pathways and little tiny obsessions and little things that we can't let go of, and that does actually change your reality. A third one, and y'all might resonate with this, let me know if you do in the comments. For myself, I learned from a very early age that my anger was not taken seriously. I internalized that belief. It's not that I didn't get angry, but I am a small frame, and when I'm angry, I'm funny. When I'm angry, people perceive me as adorable or hilarious. And so I just internalized over the years that it wasn't even worth it for me to get angry, because every time I tried to express it, I was met with dismissal or laughter. Some people actually could relate to that. So the fact that when they expressed anger, it wasn't met with respect. And it wasn't met with change, it wasn't met with honor, it was just dismissed for whatever reason, in whatever way. So if you're like me, let me tell you this. The way that other people perceive your anger and their response to your anger has no bearing whatsoever and no control over whether or not you're allowed to feel it for yourself. So never deny your own internal experience, never deny your own emotion simply because there's the idea that other people may not respect it. Now, when it comes to feeling anger in a healthy way, there's, like I was saying earlier, there's the trigger, the feeling, and then the expression. In the ideal world, some of us go straight to expression. Some of us have learned to intellectualize, which is a healthy part. However, some people over-intellectualize and they skip that feeling bit, which is the whole point. That's what gets the feeling up and out. That's what heals the anger. That's what inspires the action. So there's a couple different ways that we sort of side dance and step around that feeling, which admittedly is uncomfortable. But we do have to feel it in order to let it process. So how can you do this without, slapping your boss? I am a huge fan of the good old-fashioned tantrum. And here's a couple of ways that you can have a tantrum in a really healthy way rather than just, again, kind of bleh and exploding onto the nearest person next to you. There are kind of some healthier ways to have a tantrum, but I do believe if we let our shadow and our anger have its say, have its moment, have its rant, have its tantrum, it will release. If we repress it and we say, okay, no, these are bad thoughts, these are bad ideas, these are angry thoughts, I'm putting negativity into the world, I don't want to speak this into life, then it gets repressed and it turns really sludgy. A couple ways you could do it. One, if you're a writer, a journaler, write it all out, pages. Set yourself some time at the end of the day when you've got nothing else to do and just freaking dump. And allow yourself to have those angry thoughts, to have those allow yourself to write them down on the page. Again, these individual thoughts do not mean that you're actually wishing this on the person. And honestly, once you get it out, most of us will have a realization of, okay, I don't really want them to contract the bubonic plague, but my anger was having a moment. Let the worst of it come out. And then you can either burn the letter, destroy it, I'd shred it, destroy it, let it go. And then take out another piece of paper. And in that empty space of having let it all out, write down what's actually bothering you. What did this trigger bring up? What did it bring up from childhood? What did it bring up from 5 years ago that just bugged the heck out of you? What did it bring up that seems like a pattern in your life? Write that down and now start healing from that point. Or if you are a verbal person, you can enlist the help of a very dear friend who is very, 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 very good at holding space and letting you do your thing. And if that's the case, give them a warning, give them a heads up. That's the difference between dumping on someone and asking for their help in your healing. And always allow them to say no. If they're not up to it, respect that, call another friend, or talk into your phone and just record a message, not to them, but just, record an audio recording. But if you do have that kind of friend who is able to sit there, let you be angry, maybe even insert a couple of supporting statements there and allow you to have your tantrum, that is a good friend right there. That is gold as far as relationships go. So go ahead and call them up. Ask them, hey, look, I am feeling really angry. This has nothing to do with you. Also make sure they're not the ones involved in the situation. Ideally, if they have a loose or very light connection or no connection at all to the person you're angry at, probably a good idea. Because again, you don't want to be sitting there trashing someone that they're actually quite close to. But call them up, say, hey, look, can I please just vent? I'm having an angry moment. I don't need you to calm me down. I don't need you to fix it. I just need someone to be here while I have this tantrum. If they say yes, allow them to help you. And again, I'm going to stress in both cases, let those gross, nasty, dark, vile thoughts be said. Don't repress them. Because again, I don't actually truly believe that you mean most of these things. But if you don't get them out, they tend to fester. At my angriest at someone, I was pacing back and forth on the phone with my friend saying, I'm gonna kill him, I'm gonna kill him, I'm gonna learn voodoo, bring him back to life, and then kill him again. Feel free to use that if you like. Now, obviously, I have zero intention of ending someone, but in that moment, it needed to be said just so I could trigger that full feeling of anger. See, when we say these triggering statements, when we say these angry statements, it allows us in our bodies to feel it. Because sometimes it takes a minute to get angry for a lot of us who have repressed our anger and gotten so good at ignoring our anger that we don't actually remember how to feel it. Letting those triggering phrases come up will allow your body to feel it. A lot of people are very surprised to notice that if they let themselves be angry for like 15-20 minutes, the big whack of emotion is gone and it's released so that they can start dealing with what is really truly under the surface of this situation. And then you can start looking at it from a cool perspective of, okay, what needs to be done here? What's the next action? What's the next healing step? Happy angering, happy healing, and I hope this video served you.